Howdy! Welcome to Altitude Technologies, our brand new studio here, and you see we are even established 1957. Isn't that cool? Just only by the way. But today we want to talk a little bit about how does your digital altimeter or AAD work and some limitations in the use from digital altimeters. So as you know, that is our little atlas, huge numbers in a small case. And that is a full digital altimeter with a digital pressure sensor. So let's start with some basics. Skydiving altimeters do not measure altitude. They measure atmospheric pressure and then convert the pressure reading to normal altitude for that pressure. The atmospheric pressure at any location in the world is constantly changing. The changes are caused by weather and atmospheric effects. Your altimeter cannot see what's going on. It only knows if the pressure is going up or down. Just for your information, atmospheric pressure reduces as you go up in altitude. At 18,000 feet, it's about half of the pressure at sea level. So when you are at the drop zone, your altimeter is constantly measuring the slowly changing air pressure and saying, I think we are on the ground. So the pressure I'm sensing equals 0 feet above ground level, e.g. constantly zeroing the altitude, called AutoZero. To make it 100% clear, AutoZero is developed to make sports skydivers' life as easy as possible. You cannot use it in technical skydiving environment. More to this later. So here we have a graph of the raw data of a digital pressure sensor, actually a jump from me at Skydive Paris last October on a world record event. And you see it was a jump from 18,000 feet above ground level, 19,000 feet above main sea level, because Skydive Paris has that altitude. And what you see here is that a lot of this data would not fit into a normal skydive. This is a standard reading, which means 50 to 80% of the data we get is just garbage. We have to throw it out. So how do we do that? We have an algorithm. The algorithm predicts this must be the next reading. This reading doesn't fit into that. We don't take that. We take the next one. You can actually trick your altimeter a little bit if you go very fast from head down to belly flying. And then you look at your altimeter and you will probably see some jumping because the algorithm needs in between half and 1 second to realize that you have a drastic change in your airspeed. But just for your background information. So when your altimeter detects a rapid reduction in pressure, which means increase in altitude, it will say, okay, something just happened. I will remember the last time it was sure I was on the ground, and then wait for more information. Let's assume your altimeter detected a 500 feet increase in altitude. You could be in a car, or you could be in a plane. So if you are in a car, maybe headed to the drop zone, once you arrive at the drop zone and your altitude remains somewhat constant, your altimeter needs to quickly decide that this is not a skydive and zero your altitude before you make a jump. So if you are in an aircraft and you take off and level out at 500 feet for some reason, you definitely don't want your altimeter to zero. Your altimeter is programmed with an algorithm to decide when to AutoZero. Let's talk a little bit about that algorithm. So once a possible takeoff is detected, the altimeter uses altitude and rate of climb to calculate a period of time before it should AutoZero. So if you climb slowly to 500 feet and then level off, it will AutoZero after about 10 minutes. Climbing to 500 feet and then leveling off looks more like a car ride than a skydive. If you're fortunate enough to be in a fast climbing aircraft to 12,000 feet, it would take several hours before your altimeter AutoZero at 12,000 feet. So what do I need to care about as a skydiver? Normal skydiving, don't worry. Your altimeter will perform exactly as you expect. The same is for drop zone offset. If you take off here and you land 30 miles away and you use drop zone offset, works perfect. So now we start with the non-standard skydives, like demos, a hold at low altitude, take off and then descend back near to ground level, long period of time at constant altitude. You should use I'm on a jump option of the Atlas. After takeoff and when the altimeter is switched to the aircraft screen, simply select Menu, go to Drop Zone Aircraft Setup, I'm on a jump, and your altimeters know that this is a skydive and will not AutoZero. Think about, you cannot do this with your AAD. So know these functions of your AAD as well. Again, you do normal skydive, take off and land at the same airport, everything is fine. That you don't even have to think about. That is what AutoZero is built for. AutoZero is not built for taking off, flying 2 hours at 2,000 feet, and then jump a couple of 100 miles away. You cannot use AutoZero. So for the military models, which is in this case a very common thing on tactical jumping, that you take off, you fly 5 hours in a pressurized aircraft, you have these altimeter setting where you can set up on the drop zone the QNH or altimeter setting, or QNE, or the standard altimeter setting. But this is a little bit longer topic, and we talk about that in a different video. Thank you and stay safe.